With that in mind, I want to turn to our last section of the day, really around how do you start to make some of these decisions, both around should we adopt AI or not? How do we determine what the right AI solution is for us to adopt? How do I choose a partner? How do I, develop the change management and the staff and the resources? And I think the first question here is, is early adoption worth the associated risk? I think there's many pros out there to early adoption. Efficiency gains, cost effectiveness. You're creating and giving yourself more time to build cultural and literacy around AI. Even if the ROI you're going to see from a solution you adopt today is, let's say it's good but not great, you're setting yourself up for being able to adopt more solutions in the future if you start today and build some of that organizational culture. But there are certainly cons. I think the first and the biggest is risk tolerance, right? These are riskier tools. I think it's both risky from a sense of not always being able to fully understand what the ROI will be. It can also be risky from the potential for bias. So understanding your organization's risk tolerance, having conversations with vendors about what the risk could be, certainly very important. I also think the another big con is the ability to pilot and pivot quickly as needed. This is not a skill that all organizations have at the moment. And so you risk some things going wrong in the pilot stage if you aren't ready to sort of learn fast and pivot with a vendor. So I flipped this slide, and you're probably thinking, why is it blank? Well, it's blank because I truly believe there is no best AI strategy. It's a question I am often asked. I'm sure it's a question that many of you have heard from members of your organization of what's our AI strategy? How should we develop our AI strategy? I don't think organizations should go out into the market with a specific AI strategy of here's the AI we're going to adopt first, then this, then this. And we're going to do it in this way so that we are improving and learning how to adopt AI. Instead, I think organizations should be approaching this as we already have a strategy. We sit down and build out a 5 and 10-year plan. We have entire arms of our organization that are focused on strategic planning. Let's take what they have done and see where AI can help us within that. And that's what you see on this slide. So actually, the best AI strategy is just your existing organizational strategy, and then identifying the areas that AI can support that organizational strategy. Once you've done that, then the key becomes sort of this third bucket on the bottom, developing an adoption strategy. So what is your strategy around evaluation, governance, change management? That is much more important than developing an AI strategy itself. And as you think about sort of your existing strategic priorities, your biggest challenges of your organization, and where AI might be able to solve, it's very important to think of the root causes of some of those challenges. I love this slide because it really lays out how you can think about a specific goal, maybe the root cause behind that challenge, and then the technology investment. Let's take improving patient experience. Let's say your organization has a goal of improving patient experience. There's many different reasons why you might want to improve your patient experience. So you dig in, you say, okay, what is the root cause? Why are we saying we want to improve patient experience? We're getting a lot of feedback from patients. They're feeling unheard. If that is the specific reason, maybe we turn to that ambient listening technology that I talked about earlier, right? Because that would sort of fundamentally change the patient-clinician relationship. Just one example. I sort of recommend every organization go do this. And then after you do that, I recommend discussing responsible use as an organization. It's not just around data bias, it's around the ethical implications of using AI in different use cases. It's thinking about the unintended consequences that could potentially come from using an AI solution. It also is very much around continuously monitoring and reviewing tools for AI drift, understanding that this is not just a okay, we made a decision, we're moving forward with this AI solution, we're good to go, but that you will need to continuously monitor over time. And then finally, it's also providing transparency. So communicating to the relevant stakeholders, to patients about the use of AI, about how you are mitigating against bias, about how you are continuously monitoring. And to do so, I think organizations, and to really build out that ability to adopt AI responsibly, organizations need to move incrementally. In healthcare, we have this idea of fast followers versus early adopters, and where do you want to fall? I think, particular with AI solutions, you don't really want to be an early mover or a fast follower. Now, if there's any organizations on the line that do consider themselves early movers, that's okay. I think, if you have the data scientists, you have the expertise, the research arm to be an early mover in AI, that is great. I think there are very few organizations that can successfully operate as an early mover here. Fast followers, those who are going to wait, see what happens with early movers, and then start to move after they see sort of success stories. I think AI requires too much sort of internal cultural change, too much sort of governance organizations that you're going to have to stand up in order to successfully be a fast follower. So that is why I'm pitching sort of this third path of incremental movement. And what I mean by this third path is this idea of not sitting around and waiting, but starting to today, if you haven't yet, prepare sort of your data architecture, some of your staff for AI investing in education, data management, starting to fill gaps in your evaluation and governance process, going to your existing governance structures, seeing, do we need to adapt this at all to make it work for AI solutions that we're considering adopting? And then move on a low risk use case after you've done that. That might be earlier than you otherwise would move as a fast follower. But if you've successfully built out that evaluation and governance and identified a low risk use case, it's low risk. And this use case should allow your organization to understand, is our training working? Is our governance process working? What went well? What went wrong? Where should we move next? And it's this iterative process that I think if you start now will actually set your organization up for more success in AI in the future. Help with some of that cultural learning. So I recommend organizations, if you have been in more of a wait and see mode, I'm not saying run out and adopt something tomorrow, but I am saying start the process of getting prepared for adoption. And you'll probably find that there is a low risk use case out there too. Maybe it's something that's not patient facing, something that helps just on the back end, your staff. Find one of those and start to move on it, because I think you will start to get some of that cultural learning that'll be necessary for when 5 years down the line, there's a huge transformative AI solution that you want to be able to adopt pretty quickly.